Museums provide an unique interactive experience of getting up close to things we usually only see in books, newspapers, or on the television. Seeing the Mona Lisa, for example, is a totally different experience to seeing one of the millions of printed versions. The perception you get of something from a second-hand source is often completely different to the one you get when you see something with your own eyes. In terms of education, going to a museum can bring what is taught in schools to life by seeing artifacts or paintings, for example. If children are learning about the Romans, for example, and they go to an exhibition full of armor and weapons dating from that period, they are more likely to find it very interesting and want to learn more about it. Research indicates that those who have first-hand experience of such information are more likely to retain it in their later life. Museums can therefore be an extremely valuable source of creativity, particularly organizations such as art galleries or photography exhibitions, as many people find they are inspirational and subsequently want to try such activities themselves. Museums across the world are getting well organized and exhibitions are very well maintained to ensure all products and displays are kept in the best possible state of repair. This will make it possible for many generations to experience and be inspired by them. Museums are also a significant factor in attracting tourists to an area and can therefore be an instrumental in helping the local economy in terms of supplying a passing trade as well as offering local people employment. Government figures suggested that in 2004, 85% of foreign visitors listed in UK's rich heritage and array of museums and galleries as a major factor in their decision to visit the country. Museums are also instrumental to research programs in any country. For many people undertaking research, museums provide an unrivaled wealth of information and resources as well as access to archives, scholars, and highly trained personnel to help in one's research. Museums also play a crucial role in preserving local culture. With careful documentation and artifact preservation, a culture can be recorded and remembered regardless of its future. It can also be shared and understood by those from different cultural backgrounds. Here are a few of the reasons museums are essential for cultural preservation. First, they document daily life. Recording everyday life within a culture is one of the most important pieces of preserving it. With the rate at which cultures are disappearing around the world, careful preservation of daily life is the only hope a heritage group has for recovering its culture. Daily life encompasses rituals, religions, food, art, and any other facets that make up a culture unique. Regardless of what type of museum it is, odds are it has some cultural artifacts, art, music, or technology displayed. They educate others on local culture. In order for a culture to be respected and survive globalization, those of the dominant culture must be educated about minority cultures and their way of life. The best way to do this is through a respectful display of local culture in a museum. With an educated populace who respects minority cultures, culture loss suddenly finds itself decreasing. Furthermore, museums are a wonderful place to take children for both fun and education. They offer hands-on learning with knowledgeable employees and visual aids to hold any child's attention and will likely give you other ideas on how to incorporate hands-on learning into your child's education once you leave. The earlier a child is educated on the importance of accepting and embracing diversity, the more likely they are to become kind, tolerant adults. Museums display alternative perspectives on history. Many mainstream history courses and books are biased, focusing on the perspective of the dominant culture and ignoring the thousands of minority cultures with fascinating history to be told. Museums display histories, timelines, and perspectives you may never ever heard before, potentially altering the mindsets of people who have simply never been educated outside the mainstream culture. The differing perspective is something any well-informed person should have. When viewpoints are only taken from one's own culture, they find themselves severely limited. Museums connect those of different backgrounds. Two types of people will visit museum in search of information on each other's culture. People with that heritage and people interested in learning about that heritage who come from a different background. Museum focused on heritage and culture bring people together. In a way, it brings the world together, creating a network of support for different minorities and groups. It is a support network like these that prevent cultures from disappearing and languages from dying. Museums and their patrons are critical components of our society in the effort to prevent culture and language loss. These losses occur when the minority culture feels inferior or unimportant and strive to make its children like those of the dominant culture. By using museum to cultivate respect and interest in these minority cultures, we are already working to prevent cultural losses. Hence, it is important that we all work towards a comprehensive museum movement to help support creating the foundation of many more museums of various perspectives across the country. Shoykot Kumar Basu, Kalinga Chronicle TV, Bureau Report.